Well, good morning. It is Saturday, June 1. I am leaving Coeur D'Alene, Idaho. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. Heading to Sturgis. I should be there. The GPS says 5. I'll say 6. Most likely it'll be 9. Unless I can make up some time in Montana. Once I get on the Montana bond. Yep. So it's been a good couple of days.
So a viewer had left a comment on one of my videos that I don't talk about the places that I'm riding to, that people would want to hear about that. And I agree. I guess I don't talk about it because I do it so often. I'm just assuming that it's something everyone can do. And to some extent, that's true. Anyone can do this ride. If you have the time and the gas money, anyone can do the drive. Driving is a piece of cake. There's plenty of fuel, lots of stores, with huge gaps of nature to drive through. And that's what I like. I like driving through the nature part, not so much the city part. The less cars I see, less people I run into, just the better off I am. I could normally just ride for hours on end, not have to say anything. Drink coffee, put gas, keep going. And anyway, if you're driving it, yeah, it's not that hard. And I guess, I don't even know where to start with telling people about how to get to Alaska or back. But I guess I'll start with, like, entering, Canada. I try to enter out west. So my favorite point of entry is Coutts, Montana. It's about 30 miles north of Shelby, Montana. And I'll wrap back around to Shelby, Montana here in a minute. But you can go through Coutts, Montana, and as soon as you get through the checkpoint, it's a 4-lane highway. Alberta, which is the province, Canada has provinces instead of states. I don't know how many provinces. But anyway, Alberta is a really flat province. It's like prairie. So the road is flat, it's straight. Occasionally you'll come up on a chicane in the road. Sometimes the road will, just split and goes to a little town in the middle of nowhere, Alberta. But for the most part, it's straight and fast. I don't give too much concern with the RCMPs. I guess that maybe I should. In general, I don't pay too much attention to police. If I get a ticket for speeding, then that's just the way it is. This is part of it. I don't care to get a ticket. I don't get that many. I got one maybe 2 years ago, but I was in my car, going 80 miles an hour in a 65 in the rain at night. Didn't see the cop. Took the ticket. Matter of fact, I'd never went to driving school before, so the Tennessee Highway Patrol had pointed out to me that I could go to driving school, which I did. Did it online because I live in Alaska, and ticket got knocked down to like $50, I think it was, $75, somewhere around there. Paid it, no points, nothing. So I do tend to drive fast and ride fast, so maybe that's another reason I like being out west, because it's just so wide open. There's no congestion. These places are just nice to go fast in. I do enjoy the scenery, not so much the cities, so I really don't have that much to say about the towns. But anyway, back to coming into Alaska. So you come in through Coutts, Montana, head up north, the first big town. When you come to Lethbridge, Alberta is a nice town to stop at. I think there's even a Walmart there. Then Calgary, And then up through Edmonton. And I'm sure there's 100 little towns in between Lethbridge, and Edmonton. All of these towns have all the services that you'd want. They're all just regular towns, just like you'd find in the States. So for me, going up through Alberta is just a means to an end. If I'm trying to get up north quickly, or in the winter time I go that way, to get down south quickly, I'll take that route. Not a lot to see, cause like I said, it's just flat. Once you get past Edmonton, you start zigzagging across to the beginning of the Yukon, which I think is in Dawson Creek, and there's a good little campground there. I don't know the name of it, like the Yukon campground or some play on that. You'll know it when you get there. Dawson Creek's not that big. It's a good-sized town, don't get me wrong. They have all the amenities you'd want in a city, in a town. It's just not huge. At least the parts I've driven through didn't seem to be that crowded. And then you start the Yukon. There's a couple places where you can get your picture taken. With the sign that marks the beginning of the Yukon or the end of it, depending which way you're going. But the beginning of the Yukon, and one is right on the main drag, and the other one is kind of downtown. So I'm assuming that, I think the sign tells you that one of them's original and one of them's not. I think the original one might actually be downtown. I could have that wrong. I've taken my picture with it one time. It's like milepost 0. Anyway, get your picture taken there, and then you go to there's a place called Beaver. They got some funny names. I guess they're French, so they just have funny naming towns. I have a weird sense of humor. One is like Big Beaver. Jesus, they got a gigantic beaver. It's like the size of it's a building as soon as you get in the town, size of a house. You can stop and get your picture with that. Car washes. So, yeah, I love to find car washes. When I drive, I wash my car every time I run across a car wash. So there are a lot of car washes, especially in Alberta. What's neat is, once you get into maybe northern Canada, at least in Edmonton and north, there are quite a few indoor car washes. And it makes sense because you have a lot of winter time. My motorcycle, I carry all the spray stuff with me. So I typically just stop. It's a good excuse for me to take a 20-minute break, 15-minute break, and just wipe off the bike. What else? Restaurants. It's a lot of restaurants if you're into restaurants. I like to grill out. I love to grill out. Unfortunately, on a motorcycle, can't really carry much of a grill. I do carry like the little fuel things, and it's got a little stove where I can heat up water. So I have like little pots that are nesting pots, and I usually just carry some coffee with me. I can stop, heat up some water, make a cup of coffee. I'm good to go. I can eat simple things like hot dogs and make sandwiches. I carry a little cooler on my back seat there that has my snacky snacks in. And I love Slim Jims. I can't eat enough of those. Little sausages, things like that. They're simple things. If I pull into a campground that has like the grill there and I'm going to stay for a few days, I will go to the store, get some charcoal and some aluminum foil and grill out. We don't pack a lot of stuff with me, so whatever I have left over, I either have to give away to someone, leave it at the campground with a sign on it saying it's for free, put on a picnic table, or I just chuck it. So, what else? Yeah, so if you're heading north and you go up, the Yukon up to Dawson Creek, you're even gonna go, start heading westerly and kind of like a northwest. So you'll come to Fort St. John, and Fort St. John is a big town. They have all the hotels, supermarkets, Walmarts. They have everything a big town would have. There was a lot going on a few years back with, I guess the sand oil. I'm not really up to speed on it. And man, every kid in Canada had a lifted monster truck and worked in the oil fields up there. And the road was just fast. And these kids are just driving up and down the road as fast as their trucks would go. The oil thing has kind of died down a little bit. Maybe that'll change when the new administration gets all in. But, after you pass Fort St. John, I don't know. There was a campground in Fort St. John. I did stay out once. And I think I was pulling my camper then. They do have hotels. I don't stay in Fort St. John that much, cause it's not that far from Dawson Creek. So, you get rowing, a few hours later, you're in Dawson, you're in, Fort St. John. Then the next stop, which is farther away, would be Fort Nelson. So I do stay at Fort Nelson. There's a campground on the northwest side of Fort Nelson called Triple G Campground, I think it is. The nicest people ran that campground. Mama D used to run the campground. She's retired now, living large in Florida. But I'll tell you just how nice they are. One April, I drove down to the lower 48 and I bought myself a camper. I was taking some college classes and I really didn't have the time, to miss class. It was kind of spring break when I started, but not spring break, when I was coming back up. So I pulled into the Diamond G campground. They're closed, or Triple G campground. They were closed. It's not, they weren't even open yet. I called Mama D in Florida. All right, I had her personal cell phone, and I tell her my situation. I need to work on the class. Is it okay if I park at your campground? The snow was cleared in a little bit of the campground, like in the front parking lot. She said no problem. She called somebody to come and open the campground. They turned on the showers, turned on the Wi-Fi, turned on heat, and I could stay there. I stayed there. I may have spent the night there. I forget now. But I stayed there, was able to get my work done, used the Wi-Fi, took showers, did laundry. I mean, she completely opened the campground up just for me and did not charge me anything at all. Absolutely wonderful. I always stay at that campground. Right next door to that campground is a museum that a guy named Brown ran. He passed away just a few years ago. He was like 98, 100 years old. You can look him up, Brown Fort Nelson Museum. He had every old car. I mean, just old cars. So I walked over to the museum one day and he was out tinkering with some cars and he gives me a ride in like a Model A car. Man, I've never been so happy. That was just the most amazing thing. I love machinery, and so I loved riding around on that car. Like I said, Brown passed away. I think they've sold off everything that they had at the museums. I think the museum's probably closed now. I haven't stopped there since Brown passed away. So you fill up Fort Nelson, right across the street from that campground, the Triple G Hideaway. It's called the Triple G Hideaway. They have a dump station, RV dump station, camp station, and I think like a welcome center, like the town's welcome center is across the street. But anyway, you leave there and continue heading north. The next thing you're going to run into is Mucha Provincial Park. It is a huge park. It'll take all day to drive through. A lot of animals. There's bison, bears, those rams, like you see on a ram truck, goats. You know, they just got tons of animals. And a giant lake, Mucha Lake, is up there. Okay, so when you're driving through Mucha Park, there are going to be some fuel stops. There's probably 3 fuel stops up through there. It's quite a haul from Fort Nelson to Watson Lake, which I believe is the next big town that you come to. And Watson Lake is up in Yukon territory, so it's a few hundred kilometers. I can make it on the tank, so it's got to be under 300 miles, maybe 180 miles. I'm not really sure, but there's 3 or 4 fuel stops. The fuel's going to be expensive. If it's something that you're worried about, you can take extra fuel with you. It's cheaper, in Fort Nelson. It's cheaper in the BC than it's going to be in Yukon. Everything in Yukon's going to be expensive, but there's plenty of places to stop. A lot of the places have pay at the pump. A lot of places don't. So, I try to time it so I leave Fort Nelson in the morning, and then I've got all day to get through the park and get up to Watson Lake. Now, that being said, there's like 3 or 4 fuel stops in the park. There's even a resort in the park. Maybe it's called Mucha Lake Resort. It is very expensive to get fuel there. But you can. I don't stop there. That's just because of the way I was treated one time. I did stop there in the middle of winter in my Jeep, which did not have a huge gas tank, 12 gallons or something like that, and got terrible mileage. So I pulled in there like right at 11, and as I'm walking up to the door to buy some fuel, the kid inside flipped the lights off. So I finally get his attention. He's ignoring me. He does come to the door and he tells me we're closed. I'm like, dude, I got nowhere to go. I need to buy gas. It was in the middle of winter. I mean, it was below 0 cold. The kid would not sell me any gasoline. There was no way he was going to sell me gasoline. And there was no way I was going to pay like $300 or $400 to stay there. Now, I did have 2 5-gallon jerry cans on the back of my Jeep that, I use for emergencies. Gives me about another tank of fuel. But anyway, the point was he wouldn't sell me gas when I needed it. And all he had to do was just turn the pumps back on. Wouldn't have been that hard. He hadn't even counted his drawer yet. He was doing that as I walked up. So I don't stop there. But, you might have better luck there and can stop there. They have a restaurant there you can eat. So you keep driving north. It's a pretty remote place. There aren't a lot of services, but there are like 3 places to stop for gas. There is really no cell phone service, though at that resort they probably have Wi-Fi. Whether or not they'd want to share it with you, I have no idea. So, you get out of Mucho Park, and then your next place you're going to hit is Liard Hot Springs. Liard Hot Springs is just that. It's a hot springs. You can go in, you walk like a half mile, quarter mile up this little boardwalk. You can get in the hot springs. I think it's probably open year round. I believe I have stopped there in the winter time. But I didn't camp there. I think I just stopped there to go check out the springs. You can camp there in the summer, but if you're on a motorcycle, this is what I like to do. I like to camp across the street. There's a gas station parking lot across the street, and it doesn't cost anything. And that's a good thing about riding your motorcycle or car up and down the Alcan. You don't have to worry about camping. You can camp anywhere. You just stop on the side of the road. There's thousands and thousands of miles of camping. Anywhere you're at, you can stop. No one cares. It's not illegal to do that. There are a lot of provincial parks which hardly cost anything. $5 a night, $10 a night maybe. Some of them even have firewood already cut for you. And then there's private parks, of course, that will charge you $20, $30 a night, maybe more. I'm not sure. When I camp, I typically like to camp on the side of the road. There's some lakes that I like to stop at. But anyway, go past and you can get fuel across the street from Liard Hot Springs too. So you can get fuel there, and they have a little restaurant. You sell pastries. Canadians love pastries, and I like Canadian pastries, so cinnamon rolls are a big deal. Or another thing, before you get into Mucha Park, you'll see signs for the world's best cinnamon rolls, and they are the world's best cinnamon rolls. You can camp there. I've camped there. They have a restaurant, sell cinnamon rolls. They got showers. It's a real nice place. I don't know the name of it. But they sell cinnamon rolls like the size of bricks. They're giant. Alright, go past it. So I'm telling you all these things because there's just a lot of places to stop. Go past Laird Hot Spring. The road makes a left. You can't go any other direction than west. So the next place you can stop for fuel, I believe, is a place called Contact Creek. And it's about 30 or 40 miles east of Watson Lake. An old guy and his wife and dog run the place. He comes out, pumps the gas for you. It's got a sign there that says 15 cents cheaper or however much it is that day than Watson Lake. It's good gas. I usually top off there. I usually fill up in Watson Lake. And then I get out to his place. And this spike, I can almost put another gallon in. So almost 4 liters of fuel, which will cost you about $20. So Contact Creek, good place to get fuel. Then you go on to Watson Lake. So about a half hour later, 40 minutes later, you'll be in Watson Lake. There's, 3 or 4 gas stations, a couple of grocery stores, 2 or 3 hotels, campground. The signpost forest is there. So if you happen to want to make a sign, you can go in there and find a place. Sometimes they have staple guns or hammers and nails. You can put up your own sign in the signpost forest. All right, fill up in Watson Lake, you head out. 30 miles west of Watson Lake, it'll be Highway 37, which we call it the Cassier Highway, right? That's my favorite route to go north and south. Love the Cassier. And then one of the videos prior to this, I'm on the Cassier. So you can stop at, I would stop at that Highway 37, Junction 37 gas station. The guy that runs it, really nice guy. It's got like 2 real friendly dogs there. I think now he has a pay at the pump thing or pay outside. It's on the wall next to the door. Slide your card after hours and you can pay. So he sells gas, I guess, 24/7 now. You leave there and then you're going just west and you're going to hit the Teslin Bridge, which is this large open grate bridge. I think they're rebuilding it now and putting in a solid bridge and a paved bridge instead of this metal graded bridge. Good place to get fuel there. There's 2 fuel stops there, one across the street from the other. One has a restaurant. Maybe they both have restaurants. I know the one on the right heading west has a restaurant. Get fuel there and take your butt over to Haines Junction. Haines Junction is on the Alcan. It's at the junction of the Alcan and Haines Highway, but takes you, if you go straight, you just go to Haines, Alaska. So you hang a right there and we'll get gas there. There's 2 places to get gas. I think the prettiest girl in the Yukon works at the Fast Gas, which is the first fuel stop that you come into when you're in town. It's on the right. They have a campground there. And the one on the corner, just past that, is a good place to stop for fuel too. They also have a water hose so you can get some drinking water and, whatever. Real nice people. And at that corner, there's 2 hotels. One's run by a young Asian couple. Really nice couple. They have a restaurant. So, in the mornings they'll come and make breakfast. It's kind of an informal thing. But nice little hotel. And then the one across from the, corner gas station there, they are really nice. I made a reservation there once. Called, left a voicemail. They called me back. Took my credit card information and then left my key in the box for my room. And was waiting on me when I got there. But I ran into some really, really bad weather and didn't show up. So the next day they called me, hey, noticed you didn't show up last night. Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I was fine. Ran into some bad weather. Ended up in Tok Junction, Alaska, and then go any further east that night. And they didn't charge me at all, even though I had made the reservation. So that was really nice. So you head out of Haines Junction. Then you're going to go past the Coeur, which is a huge, huge lake. If you get a chance to camp on the Coeur. It's beautiful if the weather's good. There's a lot of solitary places you can camp. I would say I've seen grizzly bears there. I've seen maybe 3 grizzly bears. Just walking along the road, you see a lot of grizzly bears walking along the road, especially early in the morning and late at night. And when I say early in the morning, I mean 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's still a little bit daylight out, and they'll be walking, and they don't get out of the way of anybody. They're just walking right down the middle of the road. I'm always terrified one's just going to reach over and grab me, but so far so good. Alright, so go past Haines Junction, go past the Coeur. If there's any opportunities to stop for fuel, there are. There's like a half dozen opportunities before you get to Alaska to stop for fuel. Stop and get fuel. Because after Haines Junction comes, Fort Yukon Discovery, which I stayed there on my way out this time. Now I'll stay there again. Next time I'll go through there. That's about 30 miles east of, Beaver Creek, which is the name of the town on the Canadian side of the Alaskan-Canadian border. So there's buckshot bays at Beaver Creek, going there, more pastries, a good little restaurant. You can also get fuel in Beaver Creek. And then you go through the Canadian checkpoint, and it's 20 miles from the Canadian checkpoint to the U.S. checkpoint. And so it's, I guess the road runs along the border. I don't know. Then you get to the U.S. checkpoint. Then from the U.S. checkpoint, you've got 100 miles to Tok Junction. In the summertime, a lot of that's under construction. The road's pretty good. It's beautiful country. So, so it takes you about an hour and a half to get to Tok Junction. Tok Junction has a lot of places, like 3 places I guess you can stop for fuel. I chose 3 Bears and the Shell station just because I have a Shell card. And then either go straight and head to Fairbanks, or so all the roads in Alaska, they're just one big loop. If you go past Tok Junction and you keep going west, you're going to end up in Fairbanks in about, a little over 100 miles. It's a good road. It's flat. No mountains. And then if you keep going past Fairbanks, it's when you start climbing up into the mountains. Forget the name of the highway over there. But you go past Mount Denali. Go past Mount Denali, there's a Little Dick's halfway in. What else is there? There's a veterans rest area. It's really nice there. Keep going south, and you'll end up back in Wasilla. And keep going again. About another 30, 40 miles, you'll be in Anchorage. Then about half the people in Alaska live in Anchorage. There's about 600,000 people live in the whole state. Half of them live there. If not half, it's a big number. And then from there, I'm about 5 hours south of that. So you just keep heading south, and you'll pass Anchorage, Girdwood, Cooper Landing, Sterling, Alaska. You go to Soldotna. If you make a right, when you get to Soldotna, when you get to the Fred Meyer, you'll end up over in Kenai. Keep going around. All the roads end up back on the same highway. So eventually you get to Homer, and you ride out on the spit, and then it says end of the road. It's for Land's End. There's a sign there that says Land's End. You can't run into the ocean because there's a condominium hotel thing right in front of you. So, and then you just turn around and head back. Like if you get to Anchorage or get past Anchorage, then you get up to Palmer, Wasilla, and you decide to go right toward Palmer, then you'll end up going toward Glen Allen and Delta Junction. Delta Junction is in between Toke Junction and Fairbanks. Probably 60 miles, 100 miles west of Toke Junction, I think. I don't know. I'll rarely go that way. And that's where the Alcan actually ends. A lot of people will take the Toke Junction cutoff, and saves them a few hundred miles of driving to get to Anchorage or get to Homer, and they actually don't make it to the end of the Alcan. They miss it by like an hour and a half. It's crazy. Drive all that way and then not make it to the Delta Junction, where you can get a pen and a certificate that says you drove the Alcan. So gosh, that's like everything. It's not that hard of a drive. It's an easy, nice, relaxing drive where you get to see some great geography and animals. People count however many bears they see. You can see a lot of bears. Well, it looks like I'm in Sturgis. Sturgis isn't that big, and fortunately for me, being there in the beginning of June, I was like 40 days or 60 days before the big bike rally. This is the second time I've been to Sturgis, both times before the bike rally. I'm staying at the Road's End or Day's End campground. I rented like a safari tent, luxury camping, right? It's a big tent, big white tent with a palletized bed in it, and I think some electricity. Yeah, I believe it had a lamp and an outlet extension cord kind of thing run into it. There were like 4 people that had rented these tents. They were actually pretty nice. Doesn't really keep the outdoors out though, like bugs and stuff just crawl under the tent. There's no tent floor. They just have a tarp and then have a chair, lamp, in a pallet bed on the floor. Nothing real luxurious, but it was nice. So it was good making this video. If anyone has any other suggestions or comments, just leave them below. And if you can, subscribe. I'm trying to also include clickbait. Like, the video before this looked like I had clickbait, though the clickbait didn't pop up, so actually it wasn't clickbait. It was, if you watched the video, you'd see what it was. But it didn't show up as like a cover, so maybe YouTube, because I got a warning about it, and maybe YouTube just, cut out the cover that I had, which was intended to be clickbait. So I'm trying to find more clickbait to put into my videos. Maybe I'll just sporadically put pictures through the video so it really isn't clickbait. So I hate clickbait myself. I hate clicking on something that's not there. Anyway, thanks for watching the video.